This segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your partner is good health.
My name is Stan Gravois. On behalf again of TFAE, we're very happy to have you here. We get the question a lot, what is TFAE? So for those of you who are not sure, the Terrebonne Foundation of Academic Excellence was established in 1991 simply to take care of our community, simply to work with the school systems here and make sure that we do those things as leaders in the community to enhance and help the school system. We're very honored to have a few special guests here from our school board and our school system. We would like to recognize those people. First, we have the superintendent of schools here in Terrebonne Parish, Mr. Bubba Ogeron here. Bubba, if you would stand up, please. Nice round for Bubba. We'll hear from Bubba just a little bit later in the program. Also, we have Sandra LaRose. Sandra, would you stand up? Sandra is the Chief Academic Officer for the school system. We also have board members, and we know you board members have busy lives. We appreciate that you would take the time to come here and support these folks tonight, your teachers, your principals, and your students. Thank you very much for doing this. Matt Ford from District 3. Matt, would you stand up? Matt is in the back. From District 4 and Vice President of the Board, Ms. Debbie Benoit. And from District 7, Mr. Roger Dale Dehart. Thank you for being here. A lot of times, this is the part where Ashley and I are like, boy, we hope we didn't miss anybody. You're all special, and you're all dignitaries. But if we did miss somebody along the way who is in the school system or the school board, we'll make sure to get to you. I would like to call our CEO up because she is the impetus of all of this. She makes this all happen, and obviously you're being hosted today by Terrebonne General. So I'd like to invite Phyllis Peoples to come up and say a few words.
Thank you, Stan. On behalf of Terrebonne General, Stan had a lot of things to say, but I think it's just a general philosophy that not only I support, but we have. I'm very, very big on education. I have an immense respect for everybody in this room. To have so many inspirational teachers, to have so many wonderful scholars, principals, leaders, community volunteers, I think you can recognize that it takes a village. But most of all, you got your parents that are sitting right next to you, because without that motivation too, your children could be motivated, but it does take somebody who's keeping them from young to old to be able to make some major changes in their lives, to be our next leaders. And as I was talking to some general people, as I did grow up in Houma, it was a long time ago, not as long as Danny, but a long time ago. I too sat in your shoes. And you think, gosh, I can't wait to leave. I can't wait to go do something else. Houma may not be the place to stay, and I see all the smiles. I did it too. But as soon as you decide to have a family, and as soon as you decide to put down roots, you want to come home to the culture that keeps you here. The Cajun culture is about food, family, fun, and faith. A lot of F words, not the ones you're thinking of, but those. And it makes you stay where we are. Because you know what? You look to your right and your left, you have your family, you have the support of your teachers, you have the support of your community. You can't get that anywhere else. So my only hope to you is that go spread your wings, but come on back home. Because we need you in the industries we have. We run a major healthcare facility here. And people don't recognize we're 2,000 employees strong. We're an entire health system. We're a community by ourselves, but there's a lot of businesses and communities out here in our particular area that need the talent that you have to offer. So bring it on back, and one day too, you can have all of the wonderful gems that we have here and raise your kids, because it is amazing, and we need you back. So thank you to the teachers, thank you, Bubba, to the principals, the leadership. I think it does some amazing things. So I know I'm standing between you and a good meal, so I'm going to let you have that. But again, thank you for all you do, and we're real proud to host it and do anything we can for our education here in our community. Appreciate you.
This segment was brought to you by Trapp Chevrolet. We're always on your side.
Our first presentations tonight are going to go to our Teachers of the Year in Terrebonne Parish. I think that it's something that we need to explain just a little bit. The TFAE, the Terrebonne Foundation for Academic Excellence, is not the facilitator for that award. That award is facilitated by the school system. But certainly, we in the TFAE want to recognize those folks, and we want to give them a little token of appreciation on our end for everything they do. You see their faces as you drive through Terrebonne Parish on posters just about everywhere. So again, we want to congratulate them. We'll start it all off by calling up our Elementary Teacher of the Year in Terrebonne Parish, Miss Beth Olivier. Next, we'd like to recognize our Junior High Middle School Teacher of the Year. That is Miss Nicole LeConte. Our High School Teacher of the Year this year from H.L. Bourgeois is Mr. Aldrain Smith. And now, our Principals of the Year. First, our Elementary Principal of the Year from Acadian Elementary, Miss Tanya Cook. She couldn't make it tonight, but that's what she looks like. Moving on, our Junior High Middle School Principal of the Year, Mr. Charles Bergeron. And finally, our Principal of the Year on the high school level, Dr. Marquita Grant. Again, when you're driving around the parish and you see their posters and their banners and their billboards, you could say you were here with them that night, when they were recognized. Every year, our local American Legion post, Lennox Hotard 31, supports a Teenager of the Year. They've been doing it since 1950 somewhat. It's a wonderful event, and we had an event in our area in January that we probably won't see in our generation again. We had a snowstorm, and because of that, the event was canceled. And we certainly, as a TFAE, feel horrible for the young lady who actually was named Teenager of the Year at that time. So we invited her here tonight, and we would like to recognize her, and we would like to give her a little token of our appreciation. Teenager of the Year this year from South Terrebonne High School is Miss Tayan Billiot. Now, if we could, Mr. Bubba Ogeron, our Superintendent of Schools, we'd love to hear a few words from you as we go through this night tonight and honor these folks. I know it's a very special night for you and for the school system. So if we could, Mr. Bubba Ogeron.
Good evening, everybody. So good to see all of you here tonight. Thank you, TGMC, Ms. Peoples. Thank you for having us, and TFAE. Thank you for putting this on every year. It's a lot of work, but it's such a beautiful evening. Couple things. Just recently, you may have heard that we were, as a school system, recognized for having the highest reading growth in the country. Not Louisiana, in the entire nation amongst larger school districts. So when we found that out, I said, well, how does that happen? How do you get, I didn't doubt it, but it makes you ask the question, how does that happen? I'll tell you how it happens. Excellent teachers who are committed, dedicated to the kids that they teach. They, as we said, they care. They care. They want kids to succeed. And we have conscientious students. And if you have a conscientious student, and that also means parents are very committed to the educational process. So one thing outside of our system that I think is a factor is you, TFAE. You dedicate so much to our teachers, to our kids. In particular, they do this thing every year where they donate tons of literature to kids. They put books in the hands of kids So you want to wire kids reading. One of the factors, I think, is because of what you do. And I want to thank you publicly, and I think you're a big factor for our success as a school system and a community. That says a lot. So thank you so much for that. Thank you. And tonight, students, this is about you. We are so eager to hear your stories. We're eager to hear your inspirational teachers' contributions in your life. It's so great to see elementary teachers who are coming back from a high school student, kind of going back to their first grade teacher, Daphne, right? And that's a beautiful thing to have that much of an impact that it endures for 12 years. So that's wonderful to see high school teachers and elementary teachers and middle school teachers here with you all. So we're looking forward to hear your story, and I can't wait. So let's get started with that piece. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ogeron. I'm now going to call up our Executive Director of the Terrebonne Foundation for Academic Excellence, Miss Ashley Barahona. She's going to talk to you a little bit about the awards we give related to the inspirational educators and the outstanding scholars.
Thank you, Stan, and what a wonderful evening. I always say this is my favorite event throughout the entire year. Parents, you should be so proud of your child right now. You know, it is no surprise or no by chance that you are sitting in the seat that you're sitting in tonight, because not only were you nominated by your school, all 4 high schools and the technical school were able to send in at least 6 nominations. They may have had more, but we said just send in your 6. We didn't want to overwhelm our committee members. But out of the 6 that were nominated from your high school, 2 were chosen by anonymous community members that read your essays, talking about the challenges and struggles and the things that you had to overcome and still strive to be the best student, the best person, the best community member that you can be. So congratulations to our distinguished scholars in this room. You guys have truly overcome a lot to sit in the seat that you're in today and keep doing what you're doing. Yeah. Now, those distinguished scholars were asked to think back from kindergarten. Kindergarten, how many of you guys remember your kindergarten teachers? Miss Daphne, yes, yeah, twice already. We asked them to think about that one teacher or educator. It could have been a librarian or an administrator or guidance counselor from kindergarten till now they're in their senior year. That person who truly inspired them, who impacted their lives, who made a difference, who saw, I hear it over and over again, who saw them as a person and not just as a student. And name that inspirational educator. And you, my inspirational educators, are who they chose. You guys are truly making an impact. You are changing this world one student at a time. So kudos, keep doing everything that you are doing. Now we talked about, TFAE does have, Mr. Ogeron had talked about our Dolly Parton Imagination Library program. We do. We have over 3,000 children enrolled in that program currently. That's over 80% of the targeted population. And I love Dolly. I know you love Dolly too, but Dolly doesn't pay for the program. It's supporters, it's community sponsors like Terrebonne General and Whitney Bank, and those who really invest in our education and literacy programs through our STEM-related camps, Dolly Parton Imagination Library, and our teacher grants. This year alone, TFAE has allocated almost $80,000 towards our teacher grants just this year. That includes our Stock the Classroom, our new teacher, and our Innovative Ed grant. So TFAE continues to strive to do our best to continue those accolades we talked about. We are really making some strides in our community, and I do believe TFAE is doing what they can to make an impact on all of us. So I hope you guys enjoy the evening. We do have our 5K Run for Excellence in Cajun Food Fest presented by Terrebonne General Health System coming up on May 10th. So I hope to see you all at the finish line, are feasting on the 30 or 40 different Cajun dishes that we have. Maybe you might even see our athletes compete in our second annual 3-wheel, 1-winner truck bike race. So enjoy the night.
This segment was brought to you by Terrebonne Ford. Built Ford tough.
This is when we honor our inspirational educators and outstanding scholars. It's done a little bit of a different way. A few years ago, we actually did this where essays were turned in and we read part of the essays. And although it worked, it sort of didn't work. We just thought there was a way to get insight to these teachers and to these students a little bit better. And this is how we're going to announce them. I'm not even going to say their name. I'm going to say, ladies and gentlemen, our first inspirational teacher and our first outstanding scholar.
Titan was always so bright. I mean, he was gifted in every subject area. And what I appreciate is whenever he came into my classroom, he always wanted to be challenged in ELA. And that really helped me keeping him above grade level. And it also inspired other students to strive for success.
Her class was just, it felt very accepting. And I just, like for that time period, it wasn't the best teacher situation, not that they were bad or anything. It just wasn't my personal preference in education, but once I got to her class, it felt like I was understood and that I was just seen and that I had a place to flourish.
I remember Titan and a small group of students would always be eager to come in at recess. And I always welcomed them with open arms. And they would do a variety of different things. They would read in my library, they would work on computer games, or they would just want to talk about what was bothering them.
She was like the first teacher to really get me. And I felt like that kind of changed how I just generally looked at school in general. Like I didn't see it as something to just float by and go through, but as something to like actually learn from and take all the experiences into account.
I always had a passion for helping others. And it wasn't until high school when I really had a great English teacher that really sparked that interest in reading for me. And I made it a promise to myself to always, if I became an educator, I was gonna instill that love of reading and writing at a very young age.
After I graduate from Terrebonne, I plan on going to Southeastern Louisiana University to study, to get a bachelor's in arts with a concentration in new media animation, with a possible double major for communications, with a specialization in creative film and TV.
Oh, Miss Jerry Overly. She was my English 1 and 3 high school teacher. And every novel that we read, she just made it seem like that was the best story in the world. And she not only taught her content well, but she also helped us learn life skills of being a compassionate and kind person.
It just gives me an opportunity to have so many experiences, like being nominated for accomplishments, like Distinguished Athlete or Student of the Year, Teenager of the Year, just all of those like accomplishments that whenever I'm feeling down, I can look back and say, you know what, the hard work does pay off.
Yes, absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, inspirational teacher Ms. Brittany Champagne and outstanding scholar Titan Eshte of Terrebonne High School. Ms. Champagne has been teaching at Lisa Park now for 14 years. Our next inspirational teacher and distinguished scholar.
Victoria is a very positive, happy person, very tenacious, and a passionate learner. So what I just remember about her was her just holding herself to the expectation of, I have to get this, I have to understand this. I want to learn, and I want you to teach me.
So I had her when I was in 7th grade. That was my first time ever. Like, it was actually like when I first got to Oakland. 7th grade was like a big deal for me. Walking there, English is not my best subject. Not my best subject. So I was like, okay, brand new start, brand new year. You got this. Like, let's see what's gonna happen. Her classroom filled with every single like figurative language, like every type of literacy, like anything. English, it was in there. I didn't understand anything. It was just a bunch of words on a poster, but her smile and the way she greeted us, it was just great. I don't know, it's just a long time and I miss it. I miss it every day.
She always was honest. Ms. Randolph, English is not easy for me. And my goal as a teacher is to make it easy to everybody and to make the challenge, like, just dissipate, just go away. So we would do Socratic seminars as opposed to just sitting down always writing essays. And they became known for their seminars. So people would always come in to watch. So Victoria led this particular seminar. I just remember this, right? And we had just finished reading A Christmas Carol. Oh. And we were talking about experiences versus possessions. Which one is better? And Victoria led that one. She led it. And she was so proud of herself. By the end, she jumped out of her seat and she was like, I did that, Ms. Randolph. And I was like, Victoria.
Middle school, I don't know what it was, but it was the most difficult part of like everything. Like school was different, like homework, it was crazy. But she connected me on every like level. It wasn't just English. She taught me about life. Because when we had like those Socratic seminars, we talked about life, like experience and possessions. Like we had a life experience and it was just, I don't know, that was just like the best part of everything.
I chose to go into teaching, honestly, because I wanted to make an impact on the world. I wanted to make a difference. You know, it's 8 of us, obviously, and all of us are teachers, which is crazy. One day I remember being in college and I saw my sister Tracy, and she was in her teaching career and she was teaching, and it was like magic to me in the classroom. My sister Kizu as well. This is like so powerful. And so it just touched me and I was like, this is what I'm supposed to do. I feel like it's more of a calling than it is like a choice.
When I graduate from Ellender, I plan on going to Nichols. I plan on majoring in kinesiology. I've always wanted to go in the medical field. Like that was just like a big thing for me. Like I don't know, something about it just makes it feel like it was something that I was meant to do. We have an athletic trainer named Ryan, and I met Ryan whenever I was a sophomore. He ran to help people, like that was his calling, and I felt like that's what I want to do because I felt like that.
I could name a list of teachers who were very inspirational, Miss Harris and Miss Ruffin and Miss Jones. And then I go back and I look at my sisters because they're all teachers. And like I said, watching Tina and Tracy and Naani and Naisha teach, I was just like, wow. But when I have to narrow it down, right, I was torn between Miss Martin at South Terrebonne or Miss Sims. Miss Marsha Munoz Sims, the biology teacher. And the reason why she was an inspiration, I chose her, was she made me feel like somebody in the classroom. Miss Martin did as well, but Miss Sims, when you walked in that classroom, it was like we were scientists. South Terrebonne is a great school. I love my high school. I was great in athletics. I was great in academics, but you didn't really see that many teachers that looked like you, right? It wasn't as diverse. So when I walked in her class, I was just like, and I remember Victoria sharing that with me. She was like, the day I see an Asian teacher, I think I'm gonna pass out. I've never seen an Asian teacher, but that meant something to me. So I just never forget that. And it's not that I didn't feel like that in everybody else's class, because I had great educators at South Terrebonne. I really did.
My mom was actually there, and my grandma was there during the war. They managed to escape. They found a sponsor, so they came to the United States, which is, I'm so glad they did. Because I feel like if I were to live in Vietnam, and I would not experience like America. Like you get to do so much here, and there's so many more opportunities than like they do over there.
She said, we have to cut grass with a blade, and we have to swipe our hands, but you guys have to push more. And she was like, there's so many opportunities here, and you guys just don't even see it, and you don't even want to grasp it.
Even though I didn't know English that much, I still tried every day to make sure what I was doing was enough. Make sure that I had everything, so that it was a part of it was to make my parents proud, but a part of it was to make myself proud and to take advantage of everything that they have given me. They sacrificed so much for me to be here and to do well and so that I can support myself.
They become my family, and I tell them that. I always refer to them as my kids, and I say, you guys are with me forever. You don't just leave and you just don't go to high school and forget about me. You're with me forever.
Ladies and gentlemen, outstanding scholar Victoria Duong and inspirational educator Miss Kimberly Randolph. Kimberly has been at Oaklawn for 10 years. And our next inspirational educator and outstanding scholar.
So I had her for 10th grade biology. So it's been a few years, so I don't have her currently. And when I had her, she was determined to do the absolute best that she can. And she wasn't too happy in the beginning with the class because this was her first, biology is the first hard class that, sophomores get. And she wasn't used to, not being the best at everything. So she, throughout the year, has really shown me just how determined she is, how resilient she is. All the problems that came her way, all the struggles, she took them on head first and really was successful in the end.
Ms. Guidry was my first hour, so I had her bright and early in the morning. I was still asleep, but when I walked in, I was like, okay, she's really sweet, kind, whatever, but I knew biology was gonna be a little tough. I wasn't expecting it to be as hard as it was. And I have a vision disability called coloboma, and I needed a machine, but for the first 9 weeks, I wouldn't speak up. And so she'd be writing on the board and I wouldn't be able to see what she wrote. And so I just kind of sat in the class for the first 9 weeks, basically failing it with a C, but a B for me is like failing. So
her C it destroyed her.
I was like, I need my machine. We had a little sit down and discussed it. And since then, I had the machine in her class and got way better.
It was definitely her just knowing when she needs help and asking for it and, accepting that even though she has the disability, that doesn't have to restrict her success. And I think that that's going to carry on. And that's probably one of the biggest things about Lexi is that she is resilient. She's going to take those challenges and she is going to overcome every single one of them. She always surprises me because she's always succeeding, everything that she tries to do.
I find Miss Guidry to be the one that pushed me the most with my vision disability because, like I said, I had a C in her class. Now that was partially my fault, but even afterwards, if I needed help, she was there and I could ask her for help.
I'm definitely not one of those that allow the excuses. You have a vision disability, you can do this, Most of my students will come back after they're out of my classroom and say, thank you for believing in me and thank you for pushing me. But while we're in it, sometimes it's kind of that tough love.
Every year, I find one of my teachers to be my favorite that year. I find myself still going to Miss Guidry's class before third period almost every single day just to go talk to her.
Nobody was going into science teaching, and they're still not. And I was like, you know what? I could do that. I wanted to go into labor and delivery, nursing, and I was like, well, I'm still working with families, with students, and if that's something that is a need, then I wanted to be there.
After I graduate from HL Bourgeois, I plan to attend Nicholls State University to major in nursing, to specialize in the NICU department, and minor in culinary because I love cooking and love baking and everything like that.
I don't think I found my inspirational educator until I got to college. Once I got there, I realized that I had a passion for learning, for knowledge, and I realized how much I love just learning new things and always improving. And I just thought that teaching would be one of those things that I could do, where I could share knowledge, try to inspire other students to love to learn.
So I have a huge family. They're all wonderful. They're a great support system. So they really support me and motivate me to do better. So I was actually crying last week because I had so much work due, but I just I went go sit outside with my parents, and they were just like calming me down. They were like, "You're okay, like you got this, you know how to manage." I find myself still going to Miss Guidry's class before third period almost every single day just to go talk to her.
And everything that great happens, I see her running up and I can see her face and I just know she did something good and I can't wait to hear it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Lexis Leffingwell and Miss Michelle Guidry, both of H.L. Bourgeois. Here we go. Our next, I just want to see who this is. Oh yeah, speaking of older teachers.
You know how they say that you wish you had a class full of that kid? He's actually that kid. All right, so studious, he goes above and beyond. He reads the chapters probably before. He probably read the chapter during the summer, knowing that he was going to take the class. So just wants to learn, and that's the best thing that we can ask for a kid.
I never took chemistry before. I didn't know if I was like it or not, but whenever I actually sat down and whenever the first day he started teaching, I actually loved this class. All the upperclassmen saying like he was like the most horrible teacher ever. Like he was like super intimidating. Like he was like I hate this class. Like his class is like so hard. But when I walked into this class, he was like one of the best teachers ever.
I think one of the biggest things is like last year, I probably heard 10 words out of him. He's like way more involved in the class. I know he reads ahead and watches videos and all this stuff. So I like to bring a lot of real life kind of things into it and examples. So a lot of times I'll go, like he sits right there in the front and usually about where I stand. And I'm like, is that about right? Or you got something to add? So sometimes he'll say, yeah, that's good. Or he'll throw in something extra with some of the stuff that he's read about the lesson.
He's one the only teacher I could stand being around. Also, he's one of the only teachers I actually can remember. I don't have a good memory for teachers back probably before 6th grade. I can't remember.
It's the money, Stan. It's the money. I guess the last year of my military service, I was a trainer for the shop that I worked in, and somehow the guys that I got to train versus some other guys tend to do a little bit better. So I was like, well, maybe I could do this for a living when I get out. So that's really the main reason. I don't know, it seems like that's what I was designed to do. So I just stuck with it.
Go another shoe for chemical engineering.
I guess as a teacher, we build from the good and the bad, right? So you've had good teachers, you've had bad teachers, but and in college and then for me in the military beyond. So I think from high school, I think Mr. Royston was one name that would pop in. But I think my real mentor teacher-wise was one of my instructors in the military. So it's a stressful scenario. You're away from the family, your friends, and you just doing your own thing right there. And in the military, when we're in training, it's if you don't pass, you get kicked out. So it's an added level of stress. So the guy that I had as one of my electronics instructors, Sergeant Jones, Tim Jones, he brought in humor and seriousness at the same time. And I think I try to emulate that. So if there's one guy who mentored, it'd be Tim Jones, yeah.
I want to get a job in the future. I want to become a chemical engineer, so I need good grades. So I need to come to school. I need to be motivated. So that's the reason why I stay motivated every single day.
He's that weird kid that wants to know everything. And he's not happy if he doesn't. I can tell you that 100%. So he craves knowledge, and that's huge.
Ladies and gentlemen, outstanding scholar Jaden Aldridge and inspirational teacher Mr. Chris Brown, both of South Terrebonne High School. Our next inspirational teacher and outstanding scholar.
Eber was one of those guys that really came to me, and he just, he's motivated. He's not a lot of work. He's already motivated. He's very intelligent, and he took to working here right off the bat. So I didn't really have a lot of problem with him at the beginning. He was ready to go in there and do what he needed to do.
I was excited about being here. I was hungry to get the knowledge I can get from Mr. Rafi, and he gave me all he got. I was very happy with all my peers and my teacher that always share a lot of moments with me, showing me how to do things I've never done before.
Well, I remember at the beginning of the school year when he came back and he was telling me about he had gone to basic training. That being a military man myself and having the military change my life when I was young, and it really reset the course of my life. And knowing that he was taking that same pathway just made me proud of him. It's like a son, It's like I took an interest and pride in him right away, and I'm truly inspired at his accomplishments and where he's going in his life, and I know he's going to do great things.
Give me all his knowledge whenever I need it. He was there for me. He was a mentor for me. I tell him some things that I need to do or how I don't know how to do, and he told me with all his trust how he did it or the way he done it, and he gave me the best answer he can give me. He was my school counselor. He was my counselor from the beginning of this year, most likely until the end.
I got into teaching some years ago at the college, and I worked in the high school for a little while and did not want to come back. But my position was closed at the college, and so I needed a job. And I'm just entrusting God. I said, I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to go to this high school, and I'm going to work with these kids, and I'm going to just pour myself into them. And took it as this is the direction I believe that God wants me to take in my life. And I'm just giving myself to it. And I just amazed at where it's gone. The students I'm not having problems with students. We're working through things, and I feel like I'm inspiring them, and they inspire me, and it's I found myself here in this.
After graduate from Ellender, I'm planning on finish my military training and then trying to get with the electrical union in New Orleans to try to get my electrical license.
I'd have to go all the way back to second grade, and Miss Foote was a teacher that just gave me a love for reading, and I had gone I was a rough kid in high school, and I had gone before a psychologist, and they said I was reading in sixth grade, or reading on a college level, on four-year college level. I love to read. I digest everything, and I've never forgotten her, and she was there, gave me that love for reading that's inspired me.
The thing inspired me the most is my family, because they gave me all they got to make me happy, and I want to make them happy with whatever I accomplish, so they can feel comfortable with me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Eber Gonzalez and Mr. David Rafferty. And it strikes me as something that I think is pretty amazing when you consider that Mr. Rafferty is a veteran and that Eber is a military guy and he's not even finished high school, and Chris Brown is a veteran of the Air Force. That's pretty special. How about a nice round of applause just for that? Our next inspirational teacher and distinguished scholar.
Samantha is a well-rounded young lady. I met her last year, her junior year, for the first time, and just very impressed by her work ethic, her drive, her desire, a great support system, great family. Knew a little bit about them before because I taught her sister Paulina, and I actually had a run-in with her at the softball field. She was hurt, and this was my last time that I went help pitchers, so I got to know her a little bit there too, but more in the classroom. She is just a phenomenal young lady.
I enjoyed her class. I learned a lot from her.
and I looked forward to it. Even though I was a bit worried, like I stressed out a lot, I love when she teaches.
So she's very soft-spoken, and they had to write an essay. And I remember handing her essay back to her, and her eyes filled with water, with tears. She was not expecting so many marks per se. So she looked a little defeated. So I kept pushing her and pushing her and pushing her. And she finally made an A on the paper and has not gone backwards. This young lady reminds me of the story of the tortoise and the hare. She definitely is gonna go slow and steady. Not all at one time. She's gonna see what she needs to do, and she's gonna get there. I was happening to look through my old ACT stuff the other day, and I found this. She would practice her ACT and say, hey, I need help on this. Being that she grew up speaking Spanish, she had a little lapse in certain things, so that was a little problem for her. And I was able to help her, and we worked. She was in my room at lunch. She took stuff home, and we actually got her ACT score up where she could be accepted to Tulane and LSU.
She was the first teacher to ever show me that I wasn't as good as I thought I was, because my whole life, throughout my whole school years, I did the work, I got the good grades, so I thought I was set, I did just enough. As she showed me, she went over things I need to work on. It was one after another, and it broke me because I wouldn't say I never experienced that, but I always thought that I was good, and to be told that I wasn't just broke my heart.
I didn't say she wasn't. No, I just pushed her past her limits.
Yes. She gave me constructive criticism, and not only that, but she believed in me. She went beyond what she could have done.
I had some great educators along the way, and I wanted to be able to give back what was given to me. And I truly believe young adults just need somebody in their lives. And, oh God, I don't know why they would pick me to be in it. But anyway, no, but just I want to give back what was given to me.
I am wanting to major in finance or accounting, or because I want to become an investment banker or stockbroker, because I have the resources and connections within my family. And my father just preaches about how good a business degree is because it's so versatile, and it would give me security and stuff. And I feel like in your job, you're not gonna like it all the time. So, do something that will be worth your time.
In the sport world, because I loved my sports, would be Coach Albert. Just taught me grit and passion and loyalty. And he was also a great teacher as well. But in the English world, I would have to say Diana Galliano and Arlene Domain just taught me this passion for English. And it's crazy because I couldn't comprehend too well when I was a kid, and now I'm an English teacher. So it's just kind of funny the way life turns out. But I would have to say those three, and they taught me right here at H.O. Bourgeois.
I just owe it to myself. I feel like it's my obligation to succeed in life, and I also want to make my parents proud. They love me immensely, and they will support me whether I did poorly on a test or did almost perfect. I never in my life worked harder than last year, and I eventually got my 27. I don't know how many times I took the ACT, but it took it took me 9 times to get my...
But that's the tortoise and the hare, slow and steady.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Samantha Krieg and Miss Jerry Overly. Ladies and gentlemen, our next inspirational educator and distinguished scholar.
Well, when Andrew first come into my class, he was fired up. He's kind of like that ADD student, like putting his hands on everything, just ready to roll, ready to get started. And I knew we had a good student, you know, because just his overall excitement of the class and ready to learn. And so when we got into class, he started immediately, started doing his lessons, got his forward training down. In fact, he's completed all 740, I think, 740 certifications for Ford Motor Company. He's got that down. He's got his master ASE student level. You know, he's one that takes a challenge, accepts it, and conquers it.
Like, I was like, oh yeah, this is just correct. Like, this is what I would do forever. Because it began doing like oil and coolant with my dad, and yeah, that's about where it all began.
He decided, Mr. Walling, can I take a transmission apart? And I said, there's a lot more parts in there than you realize. I got this.
I got it.
But I know Andrew always accepts the task and goes forward. And so he took it apart. And he was trying to put it together, and he was struggling and struggling. He could not get one of the drums in and get it right. And boy, he just put it in, take it out, put it in, take it out. You could see the frustration coming. And then he looks down there and he realizes the washer's backwards.
I'm like, really? Like, I don't know, man. Like, I was like, am I that dumb?
So he got it all together, and boy, the proudest person you ever seen when that transmission went back together. My only fault in it would be that I would have loved to see him put it in the vehicle and drive it.
Like, he did me something so good, and like he gave me a bunch of knowledge, right? And hey, what if I can take it to somebody else, right? Like, that'd be super cool for me, so.
I just have a passion to teach automotive because I don't want to see that field die. You know, that is, and right now with the electrical the way it is, you know, we do a 16-week straight up electrical just to teach them, because anything you fool with on a car now has got electricity involved in it. But my passion is to give these students a drive out there, to give them a start, so that when they get out in the working field, that they have some place to go, they have security. Any student who shows me that they're going to do right, I will put them in a job.
So after I get out of school, I plan on going to Delgado and get a degree in automotive service technology.
Most of my students go either Terrebonne Ford, Trapp Chevrolet, one of those two, and I put them to work because I want them to have a good takeoff in life. Very clearly, Robert Presley. When I was working in his class in industrial arts, I rebuilt this little Edger, first engine I ever took apart or did anything with, and he kept encouraging me to go and go with it, and I still have that Edger today. I still have it, still runs. I won't let anybody touch it just because it was the first engine I ever overhauled, and it was because of his inspiration that really started me that way. He was no student fails in his eyes, and you know, he was very, very good in doing that. And Miss Peggy Vaccaro, I don't know if you know her, she taught me speech at South Terrebonne, and I had just had the greatest time in there. She was just wonderful.
It is not all about the money. It is like about the desire to do awesome in life and to like be like around some fantastic people. Because if you're like around awesome people, then you're gonna put out awesome things.
Ladies and gentlemen, inspirational educator Mr. Douglas Walling and outstanding scholar Andrew Schilling. Our next inspirational teacher and outstanding scholar.
She was
very shy when I first met her. She spoke English, but not all of her family did. But what really I noticed about her, she's very humble. She's very willing to do whatever that needs to be done. And she wanted to do better. But she started in beta with me too, as well as in library classes. And that really, I think, pulled her out of her shell. But she's very kind, very humble, very driven.
I had just gotten to here and I barely spoke like any English, but I remember entering her library and it was like kind of like this magical place because I'd never been to like a library like that. And just seeing her work with kids, like it was awesome. Like I just wanted to stay there and not go to any of my other classes.
My memorable moment is actually at state convention for beta because her mom was not able to go because we were pregnant or just had a baby. And so grandma came and grandma did not speak any English except maybe 3 words. So we would translate back and forth. And the grandma was so kind, so loving, and Maria was so kind to her grandmother and so helpful, understanding that her grandmother didn't know it, but her grandma was still there to support her. And we just had the best time. It just made me just fall in love with the family and, everybody more.
I think she genuinely cares about her students. Like she will always try like her best. Even with the library program being cut off right now, she's like has tried her best to keep it going and like to make her kids like have a good time and enjoy reading books and stuff like that.
My dad was in the Air Force, and I was born overseas, actually, and we lived all around the world. And one of the things my mom did when I was a kid, she was a Red Cross chairman, and I helped volunteer at old folks' homes and help volunteer. And I just generally wanted to help society and help people. And I thought about being a nurse because I used to be a volunteer at Job Air, but then I realized you have to take blood and give blood, and we're not doing that. So I told my dad I wanted to be a teacher. He told me I was crazy, but he supported my dream, and I've loved almost every second of it, even the hard times.
After I graduated from Terrebonne, I plan on going to college, of course. I'm fixing to commit to Nichols, but I'm going for pre-med and then go into like medical school, and I want to be a doctor.
2 of the most special educators I had when I was learning to teach was Miss Lou from Balokai. She was the librarian there, and she really gave me a passion for reading and literature and puppets and all that stuff. And Miss Lily Trusclair, who was the PE teacher, and she just had this unbounding energy that she still has today, and she just taught me that just get out there and do. Don't worry about what can't happen, just do what can.
My family is like a huge part of that. Since they're immigrants, I kind of have that pressure to like do better. And yeah, in my school, there are not a lot of like smart like immigrant kids. Most of the smart ones are like, they were born here. So it's kind of like pushing to do like better, pushing those boundaries, Nobody's like all in my face, oh, you have to do better, but it's kind of always just like there.
It's inside you.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Maria Cemento Manunga, I hope I didn't mess it up too bad, Maria, and Miss Wendy Jeffcoat. Our next inspirational teacher and outstanding scholar.
Turner was always a student that went above and beyond. She is a perfectionist by fault, but it's a good thing when it comes to education because she strives to always do the best she can and be the best version of herself, both as a student and as a person.
So my sophomore year, I had her, which was her first year teaching at South Terrebonne. And so usually like if you have a teacher the next year, people will be like, oh, like this teacher's like this, this, and this, and whatever. So there wasn't that. And we didn't really know who she was. The first time walking in there, it was like immediately the room was like comfortable and it was like this safe space. Right away, from the get-go, she was ready to help anybody that needed it, like on any test, any question.
you had, she was there. She was ready to answer it. But that not only applied to schoolwork, if you had any problem in your personal life and you just needed to talk about it or you needed advice, she was there and she would listen to you and she would give you her attention.
So my first year here, I missed the first day of school, and then I came the second day, and then I missed for a week because I had to have a surgery. So when I came in on my very first day, I did the whole first day of school spiel with who I was and class procedures and things. And then I told them I was going to be missing for a surgery. And then when I came back from having my surgery, everyone was complaining about the sub or the work I gave them, normal teenage things. And I had Tony Lynn right after lunch, and she was the only student that was like, hey, how are you feeling? Or, we understand if you have to sit. Like, she was very compassionate. And even the first week that I came back, she was, we understand if you have to sit, or, she was very compassionate about it.
She's taught me so much, and it's not only geometry. She's taught me to be a leader. As Honor Society president, she once held that role, so I felt like I had big shoes to fill. And she's sponsor. So she gave me this ability to see what goes on behind the scenes to host our community events. Not only that, but we've created a special bond where I feel like I can go to her for anything and just talk to her. She'll help me. I just know she's always there, and she's taught me things that I'll take with me for the rest of my life.
So originally, I did not go to college for education. And then I finished college right after COVID. For 4 years while I was in college, I was a color guard instructor at a high school, and I graduated college in July. And then I get a call from the principal, and they're like, hey, we have a spot open. Would you want it? And I was like, okay, yeah. So I originally came into teaching as a temporary thing. And then I just fell in love with teaching, and I fell in love with being able to teach and affect students' lives like that. So
after graduating from South Terrebonne High School, I plan to attend the University of West Florida, where I'll study criminal justice on the pre-law track and hopefully get into law school and become maybe a constitutional lawyer.
As a teacher, one of the teachers that I try to be most like is Chris Brown. I had him for 3 separate classes. He's actually the reason I chose the degree I did in college. So I try to be more like him because he was my inspiration for a lot of things.
Ever since I was little, my parents knew what I was capable of, so they pushed me to make the best grades possible and go for the next level. And so I took that and applied it to myself without them having to apply it to me. And it always just made me strive to go above and beyond, to work harder, to study more. Not only that, my aunt has played a huge part in my life where she's given me so many opportunities to see there's more out there for me to achieve. There's not one goal that's too big.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Tony Lynn Pinell and Ms. Bailey Kramer, both of South Terrebonne High School. Ladies and gentlemen, our next inspirational educator and outstanding scholar.
Isabella's kind, and she was loving, and even more than just being so intelligent, she cared about others. When I was diagnosed with cancer in 2023, she was an inspiration to me, and she looked out for me. So not only can teachers inspire students, students can inspire teachers. Her Letterman jacket, God, I wish you have a picture of that. It has the cancer symbol on it for me.
Ms. Daigle taught my older brother, and I remember I wanted to make a good impression on her. And I was so excited. I'm finally going to first grade, and I want to be the best kid in the class, and I want her to love me the most and love me like she loved my brother. So I remember just being super excited to make such a good impression on Ms. Daigle because I heard so many good things about her.
It was a big first grade spelling bee. She won the spelling bee, and no one had to be hard on Isabella because she was already hard on herself. She was self-motivated and she was self-determined. And we would always keep in contact.
The moment my counselor told me that I would have to pick an educator of mine, I knew it was going to be Ms. Daigle because she was always the teacher that when I got an award or I got something, it was like, oh, I have to tell Ms. Daigle about this. I have to go text her.
My mom was a wonderful educator, and she loved her students, and she had such passion for teaching. And so I would mimic her in play school, and I wanted to be just like her. And she loved all of her students. She was non-judgmental, and they loved her so much.
After I graduate from Ellender, I plan on going to Nichols, and I want to major in biology pre-medicine. And after that, I want to go to med school, and I want to get a PhD so I can one day, hopefully, become a pediatrician.
My mom worked in my school, and she really was my best educator I ever had. My mom taught 3rd grade at Golden Meadow Lower Elementary, and she worked endlessly, so hard, and she taught me not only to work hard, but to be a good person.
I set an expectation for myself when I was really young, and I am really hard on myself, and I feel like I know I can do better, and my mom always told me, like, you can do so much, you can accomplish so much. So I know that there's so much that I can do, and I think I really push myself, like, oh, you want to do this? Like, you can get there.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Isabella Andino and Miss Daphne Dago.
This segment was brought to you by Cardiovascular Institute of the South, providing our patients the highest quality cardiovascular care available.
First, I'm going to ask Miss Susan Guerrero to come up. Ms. Guerrero works at Fletcher Technical College. She is the Dean of Business, Education, Arts, Math, and Science, which is awesome. I told her I wanted to make sure I got all of that in and say it. But Fletcher and Nichols have been really instrumental in this particular event over the last couple of years, and we're so excited to have her. And we'll let her explain a little bit more of what she's here for.
Thanks for having me. Following all of that, you guys, I had a speech written. I didn't bring it up here because she said it better during the videos. That's a really good idea to have them be able to express themselves without having to stand in front of all of these people. Because yeah, it's especially as a high school student, I can't imagine having to give that kind of speech and acceptance and those kind of things. So these students are great. They've done such a great job. We've heard all of their stories. What was funny is how much we change our minds. I've read her application this morning because I just found out this morning that I was going to be here. So, yay. How much we change our minds growing up. When I was little, I wanted to be a dessert chef, after a ballerina, of course. And now I'm a dean at a college. Not at all what I had set out to do. But growing up, you learn a little bit more about yourself. In the beginning of her application, she talks about veterinary school, that she has compassion. She's seen dogs in the street that, you just got to take home, right? You want to feed them. You want to hide food from your family and give it to them. Take care of all of the things that can't take care of themselves. And then I heard in the video that her father wants her to go into business and accounting. And I thought, that's kind of my story. I wanted to dance, right? We want to be these cute little things and do all these great things, but the evolution of our minds, what's possible, and doing the things that are best for our families, well, we don't realize that we're still doing those things, I'm still up here performing. I might not be twirling around, but you're still, getting that recognition. You're still doing what you do. And when you teach, it's performing. You're in front of the class. You're doing what you do. Center stage, right? But we give that support. We're helping all of those people that we don't expect anything from, even though we're getting things from them tonight. That recognition that we love, right? So she's going to take care of people, and she might take care of their money, being an accountant. But the slow and steady does win the race, and that's what I wanted to talk a little bit about Fletcher. We have a scholarship for this slow and steady student. She's not slow at all. Her GPA is very high, and all honor students. So Samantha can come make her way from the back. Yeah. So she can go to Tulane, she can go to LSU, she can go to probably any college that she wants to go to, but slow and steady is sometimes the best choice. So hopefully she chooses to come to Fletcher for her first 2 years with this little scholarship that I have for her. So thank you. Congratulations.
Next, I'd like to invite up to the microphone Miss Courtney Cassard. Courtney has actually been with us before. Courtney is the Director of Enrollment Services for Nichols State and does a terrific job there. And Nichols obviously is involved with what we do here. So Courtney's going to talk a little bit about her scholarship.
Wow. GOODJOB. And I know y'all know because y'all are the cream of the crop. Y'all know how to spell. First, I want the teachers. I'm married to a teacher. My husband is a high school teacher and coach. So I know that y'all don't do this for the money. And it's not just it's the intangibles. It's teaching these kids how to become adults and deal with adversity and deal with society. And the high school teacher of the year back there used to be on my team for a little while. I borrowed him from y'all. But when he said, I really need to go get back into the classroom, I was like, I can't even argue. You were born for this. And so it didn't take him long to make a difference. And I knew he would be sitting here as the teacher of the year for the parish, and that's Aldrian Smith. So congratulations, Al. As for the students, okay, Mr. Ogeron, about how many graduates are y'all going to have in Terrebonne Parish? You don't have to be exact. 1,200. There are 11 people in this room. Y'all are the top students of top 11 of 1,200 people in this parish. So y'all are awesome. And one of the things as I was sitting back there and listening, and I know that y'all are all going to be amazing success stories, but what I heard that sometimes we're missing, or young people get accused of missing, is humility. And also being grateful and being able to tell, it's not just about liking something on Facebook or, marking the heart on TikTok or Instagram, but it's about making connections with people and letting those people know that you appreciate them and how they've made an impact on your life. That is more than any kind of money that you can give people. And I know that, y'all are all in this room because y'all have become the best version of yourselves. And, sometimes life is not, it throws you curveball. My husband's a baseball coach. So sometimes it throws you curveballs, and y'all have figured out a way to overcome it. And that is, sometimes the biggest success is not the student with the highest ACT scores or the best grades. It's the students that have learned how to get up after something difficult has come their way. And it sounds to me like every one of you have done that. And so we at Nichols are so proud of all of y'all. We know that y'all have awesome things in your future. And it's not just you, it's also the families that are sitting here with you today that supported you along the way. Because I'm also the parent of a college student. I'm through 2 years. And so all of your families sitting there here, it's life, this next month is going to come at you pretty fast. And it could be, it's a bittersweet time. It could be pretty emotional. It's so happy. But a little bit, y'all might be a little bit terrified of what comes next. But from what I'm sitting here today is that these kids are equipped to overcome whatever it is that's coming in next. And they have you to thank for that. And good job to all of the parents. So with that being said, Nichols State University, and I also want to say, I think the most profound thing I heard here tonight was Andrew. And he said, you just need to work hard, be awesome, and work around awesome people. And I really think that's kind of the secret. I think you nailed it. But tonight, Nichols State University, we are glad to welcome all of the students that will be with us in the fall. And like I said, I know that y'all are going to be successful, whether it's university, community college, military, workforce. Just take the same attitude that you have faced high school with and apply it to your future, and you're all going to be awesome. But with that being said, Nichols State University is proud to award, we're going to add $1,000 to the scholarship of Isabella Andino tonight. Yep. And look, my husband is also a cancer survivor, so I had a little tear almost when, she had all of her cancer support. So we're very proud of the work and to support you in your future of becoming a physician, and we'll be with you every step of the way. Congratulations. Oh, you're welcome. And look, I just added it.
Hey, listen, Courtney's son 2 years, first of all, he's SGA president at Nichols. And 2 years ago was the Teenager of the Year in Ascension Parish. So that's pretty awesome on her end. It must be all her and not her husband, G, because he's out throwing baseballs somewhere right now. I do want to mention this, too. I got a text while this was all going on, and I think it's pretty cool. So Matt Ford is on the school board, and while this is all going on, he realized that his inspirational teacher is sitting in the room, and she's the president of our TFAE board, Winnie Pellegrin. That's awesome, Winnie. So that's a nice little added note in there. But we don't have an award for you, Winnie, or anything. No money, no nothing. You don't get the $10,000. Next is something that is very special that was started years ago, and it's our Banquet Award of Distinction. I'm going to let both Ashley and Miss Glennie Lee Banquet, because the honor is obviously named in honor of her husband, tell you a little bit about it, and we're going to call that person up.
As you had said earlier, this is one of the favorite events of the year because we see the students, we see the parents, we see the teachers, and it's all come together. And as you heard earlier, in 1991, Danny Walker and a group of people, including my late husband, got together and they wanted to start something to really help the public schools in Terrebonne Parish be the best they could be. It was pretty rocky, that they were all together, but it was a rocky road. They wanted to get a corpus together of at least $1 million so that they could use then the interest in order to make the scholarships available that we have been doing. That was not easy to do. And my husband, even in the week that he died, was calling on someone to make a donation. That's the way that first group of board members really worked. And we've been lucky enough that through the years, we have continued to have board members who give their time and their energy because they love Terrebonne Parish and they love the students and the teachers who are here. So we want to thank all of our board members for the last umpteen years for all you have done. And if my husband were here tonight, what he would say to you students is, you've heard that one, don't give up. That's not what he would say. He would say, use every bit of education that you can get. Anything that comes your way in the form of education, take advantage of it. And it would make him so happy to see this tonight because he used to go to college, hitchhike home, deliver groceries, go back to hitchhiking, back to school, and he never got to finish. He was drafted during World War II, had to drop out of school because in the middle of a semester, and he always regretted that he didn't go back and finish that degree. And so his message to you would be, keep working at it. If you have any problem that comes and you can't quite finish, but you want to, just keep that dream and you'll do it. And you'll be so proud of yourself as you do. And so again, I want to thank the board for naming this award in Jimmy's honor. He would be so very, very proud of all that you have done and all the literacy work that our teachers have done to make us #1 in the country. In our reading scores. This is a dream come true for so many of us. So again, congratulations to the students, and of course I think to the parents and to the teachers for all you have done in the past and now. And when you talk about the past and you say, oh, be sure to thank one of your teachers, I'm sorry, mine aren't around. But I wish that they were. You know, because you do. You think about it for so long and think, gosh, I remember when Sister so-and-so said it, or when this Miss so-and-so said it. Take advantage of the fact that you can call that teacher sometime in the next few weeks and say thank you. And again, thank you for all you've done, and we want to congratulate our winner tonight, and you're going to tell us more about that.
And Miss Gwenny Lee as well has done such a great job in our community in education and literacy, all her work on the Betsy board, the entire family. We are honored to have you here to honor your late husband. Thank you for being here this evening. So, the James J. Buquet Jr. Award of Distinction is presented to a Terrebonne Parish High School graduate who has shown vision and excellence in their chosen field or areas of personal endeavors. This individual has provided service unselfishly in their community. The James J. Buquet Jr. Award of Distinction was established by the Terrebonne Foundation for Academic Excellence in 2008. To honor Mr. Buquet's commitment to public education and his passion for learning and love for our community, just like you said. The public nominations were reviewed by anonymous readers and voted by the TFAE Board of Directors. The recipient of this award embodies everything this award stands for. In the nomination form that was submitted, they said, it's a no-brainer for this one, and I would have to agree. Miss Karen Schilling I met back in 2010 as a Leadership Terrebonne graduate, best class ever, right? Even in retirement, she continues to invest in her community, whether it's in church, playing her flute, or whether it is in the plays, recruiting people to be in the plays. The list goes on and on and on. And if you've ever been to an event at all in the community to raise money for anything, I'm pretty sure you have ran into Miss Karen Schilling there at the event. So we are honored to present the James J. Buquet Jr. Award of Distinction to Miss Karen Schilling tonight. And she graduated from a public high school, Terrebonne High School, in what year, Miss Karen?
I'm a tiger through and through. That's what I'll say. I have a big class reunion coming up this year, so I am very grateful. And as you always say, and think about teachers that influenced you. And I was so very lucky to live next door to someone who really influenced, I think, me and my entire family. S.L. Lacasio was our neighbor and our band director. And I distinctly remember playing duets with him on whatever instrument he pulled out on a Sunday afternoon. And he just really instilled a lot of love for me for music. I was very privileged to have other great teachers, one who in particular became my friend, and that was Ouida Best. I was not the sharpest tool in the shed when it came to math, but I found myself as a freshman at LSU tutoring everybody in trig. They couldn't do their proofs, they couldn't do all the things, and I was showing everybody how to do everything, and I took the test when it was time. And they all came back and said, thank you, I passed the test, I did really well. You must have aced it. And I said, actually, I flunked it. I don't know how that happened, but I thank Ouida. One of the things that she did help me have a love for was the theater. She offered us extra points to go to see a play that she was in. And who didn't need points in math? So we went, and I think she knew what she was doing to really broaden everything that we would need, all the skills that we would need to have, not just math, but all the other things that you learn when you're out and doing things in the community. I love Terrebonne Parish. It is not an effort for me to give back. I love doing it. It doesn't seem like a task at all. And I appreciate, you mentioned Leadership Terrebonne, and I appreciate still being a student every year. While I put together the classes and things that we learn about, I'm learning every year. So because you might graduate, well, not might, you're graduating this year, most of you, a lot of the students here, this is certainly not going to be the end of your learning. It's certainly not going to be the end of your giving to this community. And I really encourage you to always go out and experience the world, whether it's up the road in Thibodaux or if it's in New York or overseas or whatever. But grab onto whatever you can and bring it back home, because we need you to come back. And that was another very, very strong lesson and a message that I got from someone that meant a lot to me, is go out, find those things, bring them back, and make our community better. So we're counting on you, so please do that. And I thank the foundation certainly for this beautiful award for Mr. Jimmy Buquet, who meant a lot to our family, and your family continues to mean so much. So thank you so much. This was a very humbling and nice honor for me, and I appreciate it very much.
How about another round of applause for Ms. Shelley? Thanks to all of you, and see you next year.
This segment was brought to you by Rouse's Markets. Feels like home.